Assalamu alaikum. So this vlog is on formalism. Again, I'm trying to simplify literary theory or critical approaches to literary criticism for the undergrad students. So let's start our discussion. What is formalism? Formalism is a theoretical position that favors form over the thematic concerns within a text or its relationship with the word outside. Formalism is known for excluding or sidelining factors such as authorial intent and the cultural and socio-political background of a text from its study. Its preference for form, linguistic elements, and literary devices gives the school of literary theory its name. So it's quite obvious. Formalist literary theory is closely associated with structuralism and other school of literary criticism that we would be discussing in a separate vlog that was popular during the 20th century. Formalism developed in different parts of the world. So we find that there were many formalists, you see that who emerged or worked separately in Poland, and then there was Russian school of formalists. So there were many, they spread across, you see the different regions of the world. And this movement or formalism was never a unified movement with a set of defined goals for art and literary criticism. Formalism is an umbrella term for different theories and ideas proposed by scholars and critics. The main idea in formalism is that the most important aspect of a work is its form. Perhaps the most well-known types of formalism today are Russian formalism and new criticism. So new criticism also I have discussed in a separate vlog. But this one would focus on formalism, especially Russian formalism. So what is the method? If we apply the assumptions or you see the focus on form and technique to literary criticism. So what is a critic supposed to do? What is the reader supposed to do? So we can see actually two approaches over here, which are both formalist. One is Russian formalism and another is new criticism. Russian formalism is a school of literary theory and criticism that flourished in Russia around 1915. It emerged in opposition to abstract literary theories with the goal to develop a scientific basis for the study of literature, especially poetry. So again, in new criticism vlog, you can see again that new critics also focused more on poetry. Prominent theorists like Roman Jacobson, Osip Breck, and Buddy Thomas Shkowski were members of this club. While Russian formalism sought to find a basis for rational and scientific principles of literary criticism, new criticism in America was also interested in the aesthetic, non-rational aspects of art. Along with poets T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound, the English literary critic and educator I.A. Richards became an influential figure in new criticism. And others were, of course, F.R. Lewis, and there were others as well, like Alan Tate. So formalist literary theory insisted that the everyday language was noticeably different from the literary language. So they focused on the literariness of the text. They investigated different literary devices like metaphor, simile, parallelism, and other alliteration, and other literary devices that they believed to set the literary language apart from ordinary day-to-day discourse. The formalists placed an emphasis on the medium by analyzing the way in which literature, especially poetry, was able to alter artistically or make strange common language so that the everyday word could be defamiliarized. So defamiliarization was an important element proposed by formalism. So formalist critics stress the importance of form and technique over content and looked for specificity of literature as an autonomous verbal art. They studied the various functions of literariness as ways to separate poetry and fictional narrative from other forms of discourse. So what is defamiliarization? defamiliarization, which is an important element or characteristic of formalism. Defamiliarization is one of the key theories of formalism developed by Viktor Shklovsky. Defamiliarization is the technique of describing something in a strange manner that allows the reader to perceive that familiar thing in new or different ways. Defamiliarization helps us pay attention to commonplace things that we fail to notice because they are too familiar to us. And another important element of formalism is foregrounding. In literature, foregrounding is used to call attention to something or to make something stand out. Foregrounding in literature is to make something so prominent in the narrative that it dominates the reader's perception. Simply put, foregrounding is used to make something hard to miss. Writers use literary devices such as parallelism, alliteration, metaphor, and so on to achieve this effect. But there are limitations to this approach as well, like to other approaches. The formalists were criticized for their denial of the relationship between art and its social, historical, and economic context. This is reflected in the theories that gained popularity after formalism, such as Marxism, psychoanalysis, and feminism, which are rooted in psychological struggles. So to conclude, formalism is the movement of literary theory and criticism that became popular in the 20th century. There are different schools of formalism, mainly including Russian formalism and new criticism. The formalist approach to literature attempts to study the literary text as an isolated verbal entity, focusing on the form and technique. Along with the formal characteristics of a text, formalism investigates how the interaction of literary devices within a text adds to its literariness. Again, I would like you to visit the second site of Britannica.com for the detailed study of formalism. It is great. It would be of great help to you. Thank you very much. God bless you all.